And welcome everybody to our second day together and our theme this year of Together Apart. And we are going to be hearing from two guest speakers today. John Wullbrandt is with us. And I think any of you who have participated in the past with the Teen Mural Project, I'm sure know John. And then Janey as well. Janey Cohen is with us. And she's also been part of this project the last few years as well. So let's welcome them. And like I recommend, if you do have any questions, go ahead and write them down. And at the end, we will have a little opportunity to take those questions. I do encourage you to ask everybody because somebody else might have the same question. And that way we can make sure that you guys know what you're getting into before we start today, and you'll have some time to work in your journals and practice your sketches as well. And then we'll come back just like we did yesterday, and we'll have a little bit more time to ask questions at the 11:30 block, if that works for you. So can everyone just show me a thumbs up if you're ready to go? Okay, awesome. I'm gonna go ahead and put this on the speaker view so that we can highlight the person who is sharing. And John or Janey, you are welcome to take it away.
John.
Janey. Okay, great. Well, welcome everyone to Together Apart. And I want to thank Sarah and Janey especially. She's a fantastic teacher and artist. Maybe even better artist than teacher. And and I want to thank the Carpentry Art Center. And gosh, if all of you teens have not been down to the center, as soon as they open their doors, get yourself in there and get to know all the people down there and take good advantage of what they have to offer. As long as this is being recorded, I definitely have to thank Brian Moots and the people, good people at the Carpentry Beautiful, who have helped sponsor the mural for many years, and they have again. There's a whole bunch of people, some of them you guys might know in our community, who have kept this going through the years. Mary Beth Carty and the couple of pianos and all kinds of volunteers that have come in the past, and some of them this year have shown up to both adults and teens to the Art Center to prepare the kits that you have. I'm assuming all of you have a 2-foot by 2-foot square piece of plywood and some paints, is that right?
Maybe you can just give a thumbs up if you have them.
Okay, you all have your materials. Fantastic. Now, I don't know what I'm going to say today that will coincide with the wonderful things that you've already learned from Sarah this year. But I'm going to give you my take on making a mural and then speak to you just a little bit about why we're calling this Together Apart. Was not my idea. The Together Apart was Christina Calkin's idea, and Janey and I and the rest of the gang have just run with it. And so we're really looking forward to you bringing your ideas and putting them first in a drawing and then onto the wood panel, which you'll paint and then return to us on July the 6th. We'll then take your pieces of the mural and put them together to create the mural down at the Art Center. So, Janey, I'm gonna check with you now as far as getting us organized here. What have I forgotten?
I think that's a great introduction. I think go ahead now and talk about the past murals that you wanted to talk about.
Great. Okay. I thought it would be kind of fun for me to show you. I'm going to try this. I don't know if this will work, but show you. We'll start with last year's mural and show how different it is Let's see if I can get that. Okay. I don't know. Can you see the background here?
Yeah.
Okay. So here we are again. Thanks for the thumbs up. That helps. So here we are with the background from last year, and you can see just how different it is this year. You guys are all at home with your piece of panel, and last year, and I don't know if I'm mirroring, or I guess I'm. Does it say correctly? Does it say arts? Thumbs up if it does.
It does.
Okay, great. Okay, so and I'm not sure about the mirroring. Does that look like your art center?
Yes.
All right, okay. So you can see how everyone was like on top of each other. And had we done it the way we did it last year and in previous years, we'd have a bit of a problem. So it's been a big effort on Janey's and Sarah's and all the people down at the Art Center to put this together to make this work. But the most important component, of course, is what you guys are going to do now. And let's see, here's another image. Shows you one of the ones we did a few years ago. And this is one of the gamographs. And this one is one of those where everyone painted two separate murals. We cut them up, put them back together. Here's another one. This one's a video. Does that work? If I can get out of the way. Okay, so this is the one that went from night to day or day to night, and another gamograph, and it shows how we collaborated to create something really beautiful for the community. This mural ended up getting used in a number of different places other than the Art Center, where it stood 2 or 3 years ago. 2 years ago, I guess it was. So those are some of the things that we've done in the past down at the Art Center. As far as my work, I'd like to share a little bit about what I've done. You guys probably know this mural. Thumbs up if you've seen this. Yeah, okay, I got a few thumbs up. Okay, this is a World Save a Speech mural. It's downtown near the Art Center. And when I started to plan for this mural, I did it in somewhat a similar way. I sketched it out first, did little drawings of it, and then I ended up drawing all of the different components, the pelicans, or all of the different things. I drew them onto paper, first small scale, and the way you guys are doing. I think that in your journals, I think you're probably drawing, probably about 8.5 by 11. Is that correct, Sarah? Yeah. Okay. So I also would draw in this scale, and then I would draw in a much larger scale, and then I would draw it in full scale. The pelican, for instance, I would draw about that big on paper, and then I would transfer that onto the wall. It's really difficult to do paintings directly onto the wall. And although we've done that in the past, you guys have this wonderful opportunity to put a lot of detail, if you choose, into your piece, because you have it at home in your own studio or makeshift studio or garage or bedroom or kitchen or wherever you guys are working on your piece. So World Save a Speech mural, really wonderful project that I got to do for the city of Carpinteria. And now another one that I did was the agricultural mural, which is over where the Bank of America used to be, and it's going to now be the Channel Islands Center. It's going to be a museum soon. This, what you're looking at in the background, is the drawing for that mural, or what we call a maquette. It was actually a drawing that I then colored in. So I had the drawing, in black and white, and then I have a colored drawing, which I did, and it was about, the drawing was about that big. Let's see, yeah. And of course it's bigger as I've taken it and used it for a photograph from my background. And, but you can kind of take a look at this, you can kind of see the detail that I ended up putting into my drawing. Certainly you guys do not need to put a lot of detail into your drawing. You just do it as you wish. If you get your drawing to a point where you feel you want to jump into the painting portion of it, you go right ahead. But in mine, I will often do detailed drawings first. That's just kind of how I've done it through the years. Here's a picture of me standing in front of the ag mural, which tells the story of agriculture in the Carpinteria Valley. And it starts off with the walnuts and the lemons and the lima beans, and then the avocados, and then the flowers from the flower industry. And of course it has this tractor over here, and that helped bridge the mural with the parking lot that was next to the mural. So when I work on a piece, I always try to have the subject matter of my mural fit somehow with the environment. I'm showing you a couple of other ones that are similar to that I've done in the past. You guys, we're asking you to stick to the theme, Together Apart. And I know Janey's going to be able to tell you quite a bit. I'm going to watch the clock here. Janey's going to be able to tell you a lot about what that means and how you might apply that theme to your painting, to your piece of the mural. But basically the overall thing is that you guys are all going to paint a piece, and because you're apart, but we're all going to come together with one mural. And none of us really know how that's going to turn out, which is really kind of exciting. That's really fun for me because I don't know what you guys are going to do. I thought about what I would do if I were you, and I have all kinds of ideas. It would be hard for me to come to the final decision of what I would do. So back to the installation. The one that you're seeing behind me was done on plywood, just like the plywood you have, only it was 4-foot by 8-foot squares that were painted white. And then I had them in my studio, and I did the drawing onto them, and then I painted them, and then we brought them down to Carpinteria. And I'll step away here for a moment. And we screwed them, the pieces of plywood, screwed them to the wall. And that's what we're going to be doing with your artwork. We're going to be taking your pieces of plywood and screwing them together to make the bigger picture. So, also down there at this mural, let's see, here we go. It's mirroring things crazy. Right here, if you're downtown, you might go over and take a look at this. And this is called the artist statement. And often on the murals that I do an artist statement, and most artists are required to do an artist statement if they're doing a piece of public art. It's part of the process, and it's one of the things that we all as artists should have some practice at doing, and you guys get the opportunity to do that with yours. At least we're hoping that you're going to do that. I'm going to go to the, quickly, I'm going to go to the no background. And this is what you guys have. Your panel, the back, you've got this form to fill out. And over here, it says down at the bottom, artist statement. And we would like for you to write something in here. You're more than welcome to write something much, much longer. We would love to hear what you have to say about how you feel about Together Apart. But if you could at least put something that tells a little bit about where you're going with this, with your piece, either write it before about what you intend to paint, or when you're through with the piece, you could write to explain what it is that you are contributing to the overall mural. So hopefully that's something that you'll be able to do.
John, when you write your artist statement, do you do it before or after?
I usually write something up in advance, because often if you're doing a public piece, for instance, you have to submit that to the, for instance, the City of Carpinteria in order to get a permit. So, so I write up that in the beginning, and then in the end, when we're going to put a plaque on the wall, like we have here, then I revise it so that it's something that will be there for as long as the mural is there. And it explains what the mural is, or how I feel about the mural, or what I was attempting to do. And so, but that was a good question, Janie. Does that answer it?
Yes, it does. Thank you. So for these students, you're expecting maybe like two or three sentences?
Yeah, so 2 or 3 sentences would be great. Even one, if that's all you could come up with.
Okay.
But 2 or 3 sentences would be great on the back of the panel. If you want to write more, we would welcome that, and we'll include it in the documentation somehow about the mural for the Art Center.
Okay. Do any of you have any questions about the artist statement? If you do, just raise your hand and we'll call on you, and then you can unmute. I would have questions about that, because that seems kind of a little bit challenging.
Go for it.
To come up with a statement. Wow, really? Okay.
Right away. Okay, you guys, I'm going to be very self-indulgent for a moment before I'm going to turn this over to Janie, and then hopefully I'll be able to come back on and show you a little bit about actually painting onto your panel. So real quickly, I'm going to show you using this background thing. Here's one of my favorite murals that I've done. I did this for the City of San Francisco. It's 3 stories high. I'll step out of the way so you can see it. And it's a painting of a building on a building. So it's a piece of architectural trompe-l'oeil is what they call it. So it's an illusion. And it's the illusion of this classical building rising from the rubble. The, oh gosh, motto or whatever it is for the City of San Francisco is the Phoenix Rising. And so this is that concept done architecturally. So I took this old building down in the Tenderloin, not far from City Hall, and the windows, the 6 windows are real, and in the very center is a stairwell, or is a light well, but the rest of it is a Greek temple with a crumbling, rising out of a crumbling building. That's one of my favorite ones that I was able to do. It's no longer there. Most of my murals are no longer there. Here's an example of putting a mural in an interior, and here we are way up on a scaffold and in this luxury resort on the private island of Lanai in Hawaii. And these murals were done, there were 8 of them, and we painted them in the studio, the way you guys are doing your piece, and then we took them and applied them onto the walls using scaffold. Let's see. Here's another one. This one, again, the theme is particularly for where it's going to be. This one I did, it's a corporate piece. It was for the for Dole Foods, Dole Pineapple. And move out of the way. And these are, you know, like almost 3 stories high. Also done in my studio. I painted them on the floor because that's how big they were, and then applied them in their lobby at Dole World Headquarters. Those are also not there any longer. Most of these have been removed, and as buildings change the use, here's one similar to what we're doing. I did this for the Van Nuys Airport, and this belongs to the city of Los Angeles now. And but the reason I included this one is because it has lots of different images. All of these images pertain to different things that happened in the history of the Van Nuys Airport, and they all came together using a particular technique. And you guys are painting lots of different images. They probably won't be as similar as these are, but you can see how a bunch of different images can all come together to make one big picture. So I wanted to include that. I have so many others I would share with you, but I'm not going to. I did have one last one I want to show you that's just real crazy, and also one of my favorites that I ever did. It was in someone's living room, and I painted it on plywood panels in my studio, and then I took these plywood panels, I drove them to the site. I had to put them onto a hillavator, which is an elevator that was outdoors, and took them down the side of a cliff and out across the deck and into their living room, and then screwed them to the ceiling of the living room. And they're in layers, and they had lighting, and it's a real wow piece, and I wanted to share it with you. Not very many people have ever seen this. I'm gonna get out of the way so you can see it. So, it's a pretty crazy piece. So it's different panels of which look like swags of fabric. And this piece has like monkeys and peacocks and exotic flowers. And in the center, you can see there's a chandelier hanging from a skylight. So the skylight in the center, and then panels that hang down, and then panels that go out from there. And a totally over the top fantasy mural. So you can see I'm not going to be afraid of anything that you come up with your response to our Together Apart. Back to what I probably would paint. I would probably paint something that bridged the coronavirus with the things that were really meaningful to me that happened during this time where we've been apart. I was able to plant a garden, and I spent most of my time in my vegetable garden. And I probably, if I were you, I would be painting something from my vegetable garden that reminds me of the time that we have spent apart. So if there's time, I'll come back with some imagery in real time here with my studio, and show you my studio and my 2-foot by 2-foot panel in the studio, and maybe even do a little painting. Go, Janey!
Okay, we don't have time. We have 5 minutes. So I think it's important, John, that you do put your panel up and show them a little bit of painting. We're going to take a little time to talk about the theme Together Apart, but I believe you all have the instructions sheet in your bag. Can you just thumbs up if you have the instructions sheet? Can you all make sure you do? And at the top of that sheet, we did talk about the theme Together Apart. When we do the mural project at the Art Center, we do some brainstorming at the very beginning where we talk about what does the theme mean to you. And when we're together physically, we usually break off into little clusters of people who have similar ideas, and you go and you paint the mural with clusters of people who have similar ideas. Clearly, we're not together, and so you can paint whatever you want, and it will be a surprise if you paint something similar to someone else. But John will have the ability to place those panels wherever he wants. We actually distributed 40 panels, and we may be giving out more because he prepared 80 panels, and we have probably some more teams who are going to want some of those panels. And I also want to just address one little thing. I kind of think of it as the elephant in the room. We had a little situation, a big situation last year where at the end of the mural, some artists came in and actually made some changes to the mural, and I want you to know that that will not happen to your pieces this year. There will be no changes or adjustments to your pieces, in case you were wondering about that. I know, Lucy, you asked about or were concerned about that last year, and I just want to assure you that that will not be happening this year. Okay, Lucy, I would just give me a thumbs up if you're hearing that. And I just wanted to assure you that that is not something that will happen this year. Look how fast he's painting that heart. So just take a look at the instructions where we talked about what Together Apart means. We gave you just 2 ideas, but anything that comes to your mind about what Together Apart means to you personally. It doesn't have to have something to do with coronavirus or protesting or anything like that. It can be anything that you think of that Together Apart means. Back to you, John, and the painting.
Oh no, you keep going. I'm going to finish painting. You go.
Oh no. Okay,
I want all you guys
like
to
to
be
hear from
really selfish,
you,
very confident.
guys,
When you
all of you, students,
speak with confidence.
about questions you have about mural painting, about the panels, about the paints we gave you, about if you need anything else. Sarah.
I just wanted to jump in real fast and find out from you if you wanted to address any restrictions or any thoughts on that piece as well.
We really don't have restrictions. They are written on the mural about graphic violence. Please know if there is some terrible graphic violence, you know, somebody being killed or cut or, you know, blood or that kind of thing, we won't be able to use your panel, but I'm assuming you know that from school. You can't do that in school either. So please don't do that. Or any profanity that wouldn't be able to be put out in public, because this will be in public at the Art Center. We wouldn't be able to use that either. But the positive things are that we want you to do is please paint the whole panel, paint right out to the edges, because your painting needs to blur right into the next painting, so it looks like one whole panel. It looks like a together panel, not like individual little, you know, masterpieces, but like it's a whole together panel. So be sure to paint right up to the edges of your panel, like John is doing. So really it's more like what the things we want you to do. Really express yourself. I mean, it can be a realism, or it can be abstract. It can be a combination of the two. You can do individual things all over it, or you can do one big giant painting. That, you know, it's really the sky's the limit on what you want to do. Really. Does anybody have any questions about the ideas that you have? You know, things like that. Do you all have ideas so far? Because what you're going to do in now, I don't know if you ever go over, Sarah, but it is 10:30, is you're going to take your sketchbooks and you're going to make your initial sketch. I don't know how fast you're going to do that, but you could then sketch onto your panel. If you're really fast, you could even begin painting. So when you come back together, Sarah, is your plan today to discuss the mural?
So yeah, so normally at this time, we've only had one class before this, and normally this is our time for the students to be able to start their work.
That's what I thought.
Because this is part of the work and the process and getting to know, it's totally fine that we're going a little bit over that time of 10:30, and we'll just give the students however much time they need up until. We usually come back together at 11:30, but however long it takes us, we'll just give them the hour, and then we'll do our check-in, you know, say at 11:45 or whatever it is. And then that way they can come back if they do have any questions once they get into it.
That's great. Clearly, it's going to take you more than an hour to paint a 2x2 foot panel. That's why you have till July 6th.
Yes.
And I'm assuming that you are artists, and that's why you're in this class. The students that I know who are in this class, you know, Sylvie and Evelyn, Emma, Lucy, I'm looking at the names, Sam, you are artists, and I know that you're going to take time to really do this. So 1 hour, probably you'll only be working on your sketch.
Right. That's correct. That was the initial.
So that's probably what you'll show. And I won't be back at the end of this class to see what you've done. So I'm so excited to see what you present on July the 6th. Back to you, John.
No, back to you, Sarah. Thanks, guys.
Okay, so John, is there anything that you wanted to talk about in terms of, I know that we got to kind of see while Janey was talking, we got to see you applying some paint to your canvas. Do you have any troubleshooting techniques or anything that you want to share with the students about how to draw on their panel or how to get started with the painting?
Okay, the drawing, the only thing I think of is that what might help your drawing that I like to share is when you're drawing, don't try to draw with your fingers and don't try to draw with your hand as much as drawing with your arm. Because when you're doing mural work, it's going to be seen really, really big. People are going to see it from the street. So some of the images, it might be helpful if you use your arm to draw some of those lines to get it large. If you work small, that's good because people can come up and see it really close. Some of you will do that and do lots of little detail. That'll be great. Others, think big. And so people from the street driving by might see your piece and might want to go, hey, let's go over. So that starts in the drawing, to answer your question, Sarah. And in the painting, a couple things that I might share with you is that you're working with acrylics and they dry real fast. So make sure you get your brush back in the water right away and clean your brush often. But the water can be your friend. I don't know if you noticed, but at the very end, I went back in while the paint was still a little wet because it was working fast. I was to take a little bit of water, and I was able to blend my colors together with the water. So you don't want to use too much water. It'll make your acrylics go really, drip really fast. If you're going to use a lot of water, maybe paint with your panel laying down. And then it won't drain, it won't dribble around as much. So if you're working with a lot of water, maybe work flat. But if you're going to work a little drier, then you can work with it propped up, and that might be easier. Let's see. Colors, you guys have learned about colors, I'm sure, before in your other classes, so I don't need to go over that. I think in your kits, you have a good variety. Janey made a real effort to get a whole spectrum so that you can mix colors, and you probably have gone through the color wheel before, I'm guessing, so you know to mix yellow with red to get orange, or blue with red to get purple, or blue with yellow to get green, and any combination to get the other colors like brown. Or so I'm sure you've gone over that before. Like Jay said, paint to the edge, we really like that. Also try and cover the whole piece. If you don't have white in your kit and you want to leave a little area that's white to represent white, that's okay. Just don't tell us. Gee, I don't know what else. When do I answer your question?
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely. So
that's me.
Campers, I was going to suggest, even if you start small, you can also open up your sketchbooks nice and big so that you can start trying to spread it larger and use both pages to go across. That might be something that you try to do. And I'm really excited also to see the things that you guys are going to express about the theme Together Apart. And I think they already said your deadline is the week after we're together. So you don't have to have it done by Friday, but when we do have our check-ins this week, if you are interested in sharing or asking for feedback, I would be happy to help you with that as well too. If there aren't any more questions or anything that you campers have to say at this point in time, or Janey and John, we can go ahead and pause the recording and come back in an hour to check in. Is there anybody that has anything else that they want to ask before we take a quick break? No? Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead at this point and stop the recording.